there, lovely listeners. This is Shelley Dax, your host for the Tattoo Sisterhood Revolution. Today, we'll be speaking with tattoo artist Lorrie Thomas, or Lady L to her followers. But before we dive in with Lorrie, let's just go over really quickly what we're doing here. In this free interview series, I'm speaking with some powerhouse artists and badass entrepreneurs about the beginning of their career, what kinds of obstacles they've dealt with, and how they've built their clientele or following and grown as an artist in this business. With a special emphasis on being a woman in the tattoo industry, which has traditionally been a men's club. And when you take in all these sessions, you'll walk away with tips on breaking into the industry, magnifying your talent, being an artist who doesn't compromise your values. I would encourage you to listen to all of these sessions, as there is a ton of free guidance, and who knows, something you hear could change the direction of your career. Watch out for the interview of the day in your email every morning. And off we go. Today, I am super jazzed to be talking with tattooer Lady L. Lorrie's been a fine artist since birth. 15 years ago, she started her journey into tattooing and hasn't looked back. Her favorite styles of tattooing include tribal, watercolor, and black and gray realism. She's been voted Detroit's best tattoo artist for 3 years in a row in the Michigan Chronicle 2016 to 2018. And Lorrie is also the founder of the Ladies of Ink Tour, which highlights Black female tattoo artists who tour the U.S., tattooing together. She hopes to use the tour to influence other African-American female tattoo artists around the world. Hello and welcome, Lorrie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm well.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's just jump right in and let's start. I'm going to ask you, how long have you been tattooing and what made you become interested in tattooing?
I've been tattooing for 15 years, and
Woo!
my interest came from actually going to an illegal tattoo party with a friend. And tattooing wasn't anything that I even was thinking about beforehand, because being formally educated in art, they're not going to talk to you about having a career in tattooing.
Right.
So when I went to this tattoo party, I ended up drawing some things for some of his clients and drawing a tattoo for my friend to get. And he asked me have I ever considered actually tattooing, and I said, no, because I haven't heard that there's any money that you can make and be successful and have it as a successful career. And so he's like, wow, that's crazy. So we started chatting, and he actually told me he would teach me how, and that didn't end up happening. However, That's when I first became interested in actually wanting to learn the whole process of tattooing.
Were you in Detroit at that time?
Yes, I was in Detroit.
Cool. Did you ever find an apprenticeship, or how did you actually get the training that you needed?
I never found an apprenticeship. Back then, I'll say that either they wanted too much money or they just weren't willing to offer an apprenticeship to me. And that's fine, because I ended up developing mentors that were actually out of state, but they gave me a lot of advice and stuff. And when I would get my tattoos done myself, I would ask the artists questions about setups, about safety, and then I learned about the bloodborne pathogens. So yes, first I did not have an apprenticeship, and I'm actually a self-taught artist. However, I made sure that I learned the proper things I needed to make sure that I was clean and my clients were clean.
Yeah.
And the process was harder, and I had to, of course, learn a lot by mistake. But I think that's what most tattoo artists, whether they have an apprenticeship or not, they're going to make some mistakes in the beginning. So.
Absolutely. We learn so much from our mistakes, for sure. Did you eventually just, like, you had mentors, you said, out of the state? Did you just talk to them on the phone? Did you send them emails, or how did you communicate with them about what you were doing?
Yes, we spoke through social media, through email, and even on the phone. And the phone was probably the easiest and the most effective way, the fastest.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I need help in the middle of a tattoo. And it's scary when you're
You
it's
just hop on the
scary
phone.
when you're by
Help
yourself,
me.
right?
That's awesome. So then can you share what you've noticed about women and minorities getting into the tattoo industry?
I've noticed that, well, first off, most don't even recognize us as being tattoo artists. We're always like, considered receptionists. If we're in a shop setting or something, like they're automatically assuming, straightforward that
Gosh,
we
Lori,
are.
I've heard that from so many women, or even around the world, which is just
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like they think that you're an assistant or, it's more like artist. The word tattoo artist is associated with males. So that's completely what, even now people ask, do you have a tattoo man, tattoo guy? And yeah, even some other tattoo artists, they have a hard time acknowledging the women in the industry. So
Gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, so when you decided that this was the career that you really wanted, what like obstacles did you have to get over? I mean, obviously not having an apprenticeship, was challenging, but was there other things too?
Uh, Other things, well, I mean, eventually when you travel to different, well, I live in a predominantly, well, I don't live, but I work in a predominantly Black area.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there is certain things, especially racism, that you can encounter along with, uh, sexism.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like
uh,
when you traveled, you mean, or even
yeah,
where you're at?
when I've traveled, I've dealt a lot more with racism, especially closer to like the West Coast. Uh,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and but like I said, where areas where it's predominantly Black, you don't really deal with those. And because I work mostly in a predominantly Black area, I don't deal with that daily like some people
Sure.
have. But yeah, so as far as like I said, sexism, people like when I first won the awards, a lot of people, they don't want to give you your credit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mm.
especially I feel like being a guy is automatically looked upon as being a sort of superior gender in everything. And so it's
Wow.
like, yeah, I feel sometimes a little bit of I don't know, jealousy, and then it can kind of be like, oh, did you really work that hard to get there?
Oh,
Or
geez.
it's like, what can you do? What can you do as a woman tattoo artist? Like, what are you going to do? So your work has to be good. This is not, it's not something that you're playing with. It's permanent. And you're working on somebody's skin. So it's like, what can it possibly do to get ahead as a tattoo
Yeah.
artist?
Yeah.
So
Wow. Well, so what do you think? Have you ever apprenticed anyone yourself?
I'm sorry, you said what?
Have you ever apprenticed someone, taken on a student yourself?
Yes, I have.
Nice. And how
Yes,
did that go?
I feel like I have one successful apprentice. I have he actually, to me, I feel like when people come to learn, they don't understand that it might take a while. It's a process.
Yeah.
And they think that, okay, I'm gonna come for a couple weeks, I'm going to learn what I need to learn, and then I'm going to get started. And I'm like, no, that's not. You need to learn this. you, you need to learn so much. And then you also need to learn how to transfer your drawing onto skin, and as far as composition, shading, everything. So it's a lot to learn, just the basics, like just
Yeah.
sanitary and everything. So sanitation and everything. So I've noticed that I've had people, they say that they can't do it, or they'll stop showing up because they're tired of doing errands and doing the actual other work too. Because I
Yeah.
don't charge for my apprenticeship. I make people earn them by
Hmm.
doing, shop errands and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people think that it's just supposed to be easy breezy. And that's just not, that's just not it.
Yeah. Steep learning
So
curve for sure.
I So I do have an apprentice. He's been tattooing for about 7 years. He's going on 7 years now, and he travels and he's doing very, very well. So I'm proud of him.
Oh,
And yeah, I have more male apprentices, and they really hate. I feel like they really can't take a woman kind of telling them things to do. It makes it. I, I,
so you
I,
love it, right?
I promise you, because my apprentice. Yes, I love it. They
Yeah.
don't, but I'm like, you came to me for a reason,
Yeah.
like. And then at my shop, not only you're my apprentice, but you're the shop apprentice. So everybody in the shop you're learning from, and you're taking something from. So, they just sometimes it's not for the weak. I will say
Right,
that.
right. And how
Not
many
for the
people
weak.
work, how many artists work at your shop?
There are 4 artists, including myself. And then we have guest artists from time to time, like every other month.
Nice. Wow, that's cool. So I know that you mentioned before that you thought there were some common stereotypes of female tattooers. Is that what you were talking about when you said that people
Yes.
come in and think that you're the shop like
Yes.
manager or
They
something?
think that because they're getting tattooed by a woman that their tattoo is going to come out extra feminine, or like like, or it's going to be dainty. And like I've heard this stuff before. I actually heard this recently that some men don't like women tattoo artists because they feel like their tattoo is going to come out girly.
Too
And no
girly.
matter
Yeah.
right, no matter what it is, you know what I'm saying, it's going to come out girly, which is crazy to
Oh
me.
my
But
gosh, that's so
yeah.
funny. Even when they see your portfolio.
Exactly. I'm like, and that's another thing, because I feel like a lot of people don't know about actually viewing portfolios. So
Mhm.
many people just kind of, they're, especially social media, they're always asking, tag the best tattoo artist. Well, what do you want? Because I don't do portraits. So
Right.
if you're interested in a portrait, yes, I might get tagged, but then you're out of luck because that's not something I specialize in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
a lot of people don't know about the portfolios. They just word of mouth. Who can do it? I
Yeah.
want something done.
Did you have support from friends and family when you first said, I'm gonna be a tattooer?
Well, as far as well, friends, yes. Family, yes and no. My
Uh-huh.
mother was totally against it because she didn't, like I said, she was straight. Go get an education, graduate, get your degree, work for somebody. So when I told her like I want to be a tattoo artist, she was just like, how are you gonna take care of yourself and the kid? How are you gonna do this, and that? And I'm like, you're probably looking at it from one standpoint. I'm like,
Right.
but I'm like, there's actually pretty successful tattoo artists. And I even had to like bring my friend who was a tattoo artist at the time to Easter dinner with me to convince her. I had him bring his books. Like, can you please bring your books to convince my mom that I'm not going to be homeless within years? Cause,
Oh my gosh, to show her it's authentic. It's
and now she's like one of my biggest fans, and she actually got
yay.
her first tattoo last year from
Oh,
me.
that's so cool. How
And
fun.
yeah,
And you're a mom too, did you
yeah.
say?
Yes, I'm a mother of 3. And that's
3.
another thing. Yes, I have a 16-year-old, I have a 7-year-old son, and a 2-year-old son. My 16-year-old is my daughter. She's my oldest. And she's been with me since the start of the tattoo thing. So she understands how it goes and stuff like that. Like, she definitely, when I first started, she was the one trying to bring my clients bears and candy. Like, oh, you're hurting. You're hurting. Like,
Well, so
so
what's it like
yeah,
though? I
she's
mean,
the
being a mom, and I mean, obviously you were already a mom when you decided to do this. So that can be, challenging
yeah.
as well. How did you manage juggling all that?
Yes, it's hard, but you have to have a village. Some people you trust. Like my mom is retired, so I actually pay her and my kids' grandparents to watch them because I don't really trust certain situations like daycare. So I'm blessed
Sure.
that have family, and that are able to help me out, and I can feel comfortable being at work for so long, and make sure and know my kids are safe. With my it can be hard. At first, it was really hard but until I built my reputation and built my brand, and I was able to, well, to, you know, kind of show people like I'm not bullshitting about this.
Right.
Something I
I'm
really want to
serious.
do. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's when it's like, okay, this is, you know, and it's paid off because I get recognition, and I'm able to inspire others, and that's really what I wanted to do in the first place. So
yeah. Well, that perfectly brings me right to the Ladies of Ink tour that you started, and when was that, and what was your motivation behind it?
I started the Laser Ink tour in 2015, and it took me a year and a half to actually put it together. I didn't know anything. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do because I don't know anything about touring, but I just knew that every time I walked into a tattoo convention, I didn't see a lot of women. I may see one or two out of hundreds of men. And every time I walked into a tattoo shop, I didn't see any women. And it might be one out of maybe 20 shops. And I said, there's gotta be women. And I'm like, there's gotta be Black women. I'm like, because like I said, there is tension in our country. There is a lot of racial tension.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just want to be comfortable. When you are tattooing, you have to, I'm big on energy. I'm big on being positive. I'm big on good vibes and stuff like that.
Nice.
And sometimes it can be some racial tension. You can tell conventions and stuff like that, especially when they're not used to seeing a lot of Black people at all. And then to see, you know, a group.
I love that.
Kinda, you know,
describe what it was like the first time you guys walked into a convention together.
The first time, I feel like we were excited, but everybody was trying to figure out what we were doing there.
Right.
You know? 17 of us all together. So it's like 7 to 8 tables. So we literally have like one of the largest 6 to 8 booths at a convention.
You did?
Because we have so many artists. Yeah, we have 17 artists. So
nice.
We have to, and it's 2 artists to a booth. So not everybody can make every convention. However, for the most women, and to see the booth and to see the work. We even shot a pilot for a show based on our tour. So like, yeah, it was just, we just get a lot of recognition because people are happy. They're happy to see it. They're happy to see women. They're happy to see Black women. They're happy to see that we're united. We're not fighting. We're not.
I love that. You know, oh man, that is so cool.
And we're like a real sisterhood because even though we're all from different states, for the most part, we have the same kind of experiences. So we're able to connect, and we built this bond, and like, so now it's like we're more excited when we see each other, like, oh, let me tell you what's been going on. Like,
oh man, that's great. Yeah, you were talking about the importance of sisterhood, and I think that's partly why you were attracted to this telesummit, right? Yes. You talked about networking and how important that is. Apparently that's what you've created in this tour. What are you guys doing now that everyone's kind of home with the COVID thing?
Right now, everybody's doing, some people are traveling like I am right now. We're all tattooing still. Nobody is, I know a couple of girls, their states opened up last, so they didn't start tattooing, so maybe like the end of last month. But everybody's been focused and working on their art or different, because a lot of people, do art prints and stuff like that, clothing. Yeah. So they've been doing that, and then we're actually working on this podcast thing for Guy Atkinson's tattoo online convention.
Oh, so his virtual gathering.
Yes, his virtual gathering. Yes. So as soon as I settle, I have to contact. Well, I contacted them before, and they agreed. So we just have to get it together, do artist interviews and live tattooing and stuff like that. So we'll be doing that until next year because I had to cancel the tour for the rest of the year. And
Yeah.
that's okay because it gives us time to, get ready for next year and be prepared. So.
Right. Awesome. Well, you mentioned earlier about, creating kind of your following and your brand. What would you recommend to our audience for like actually growing and standing out in this kind of noisy world right now?
I feel with any kind of business, you have to see what's not being done. And when it comes to tattooing, I just say make people feel welcome, make them want to sit in their chair and not feel like, oh, I'm gonna be with a complete stranger for maybe 6, 7 hours working on me. I believe that I believe that artists should show their personality, especially if they're using social media as a main thing for branding. It's good to show pictures of your work. That's good too. But I feel like I get a better a better sense of feel for people when actually kind of talk back to them through social media and engage with them and stuff like that because they feel more comfortable with sitting in your chair. And I also make sure that my environment is very kind of calm and peaceful.
Yeah, and that's
So,
very different than a lot of shops that people go into, like you said,
yeah,
sometimes they can be kind of chaotic and harsh and loud and and
exactly. I believe like jazz and
nice.
simple music, yeah, and
Yeah.
incense or candles from Bath and Body
Oh,
Works.
wow. So you really try to make it
Yeah, I
comfortable.
like the whole vibe.
Yeah, I've been hearing
Yes,
that more and more
and I
from
learned from Kate.
from who?
Yes,
Who did you learn
from
from?
Kate, my sister Kate.
Oh, okay.
Kate, my sister Kate, Charity. She had a vaporizer, and I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, the vaporizer makes sense. So I said because the sense of smell and everything,
Yeah.
lavender, that relaxes people. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. I interviewed her too, Charity. Cake.
Yeah.
You call her Cake.
Yes.
That's cool. I love that. So, what do you think is the most common reason that people fail or give up in this industry?
I feel like they get discouraged too fast and they compare themselves to other artists too much. I I'm not one to ever care about the award part of being a tattoo artist, like trying to win trophies and stuff like that. I'm really more focused on my clients and how, what they want and make sure that they're satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that a lot of times artists, they see other people's work, especially social media kind of makes it even easier to keep up with other people.
Yeah.
And they compare and they put themselves down. And I just don't do it because everybody has their own style. You could be developing a style that, only anybody can come to you for that style. And that's, that's good because once you have a style that you either made up or somebody knows that they can only come to you for this style, then you have cornered the market. But
Yeah.
I just feel like some people just shouldn't compare themselves. Like everybody has their own journey, everybody has their own mind, the way they look at things and the way they do things.
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
people should just keep trying and not get discouraged and know that there are slow times in the tattoo industry and it happens every year. It's usually
Yeah,
around the
right.
fall. and,
Always found it so strange that people always want to
get colder.
Yeah, people always want to get tattooed in the summer, but
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Well,
what about the winter?
the sun is out and stuff. Yeah, they want it to be burnt, sunburnt, right?
Right.
They just want to show it off. That's really what
That's why all of their skin is
when you're in
showing.
winter time, your clothes, you got your clothes right. You're not worried about your clothes like how people start working out during, when it gets close to the summer. Like, I got to get my summer body ready. Yes, you didn't care during the winter.
So what do you think what's the main thing, like technique wise, that you learned that propelled your tattoo skills forward the most?
You said what's the main thing tattoo wise?
Yeah, like
I feel
technique
like
wise.
technique wise, I definitely learned I learned more about mags and I kind of use them like a paintbrush,
Uh-huh.
and it works out better for me because, like I said, with me not being trained for a long time, I didn't use mags because it was intimidating to see all these needles, and I was like, so I did most shadings with liners, and it was like taking forever to do, like forever to do, and some people line and shade with a 3 liner. I would say never. Like mag, I kind of just learned different techniques because I was so scared to use it that I learned like, okay, this can, lighter shades. Okay, this darker, this is what angle the brush to do this kind of when you want to make different hair, texture and stuff like that. So definitely learned how
Nice.
to use that.
Yes, I know. They're
That
so
technique.
amazing. I love them too.
I
Very
know.
cool. So what's your take on how things can improve in the tattoo industry, which is formerly a kind of a closed culture? What's your take on how it can improve even more now?
I just feel we can improve by just respecting each other, respecting our differences, our cultures, and being more willing to learn from each other and more open to that. Especially tattooing on different complexions of skin.
Hmm.
Uh, I feel like if we started communicating more with each other artists who are scared to work on darker complexions,
Hmm.
will be more, more willing or more comfortable.
How do you think people can get more educated on that?
Just to talk, it's like an elephant in the room to mention anything that has anything to do with race. Like
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
like
Everybody's
it's like, oh
scared.
my goodness, like we can't say this because we might be called racist. We can't talk about this because it's like as long as we're avoiding the talk or communicating, then it's going to be a lot of barriers, that will stop us from educating each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how do you think we can do that? Just by being networking and being like a
Yes,
sisterhood together?
networking. Yeah. Yes.
That's
Honestly.
great. Well, I think with you going around, I mean, are you intending at any point to like teach a class or a workshop maybe at a convention or something?
That would be awesome. If I don't do it, I would definitely talk to some of my ladies. Sometimes I can be a little shy. It's crazy because for me to accomplish what I've accomplished, I can sometimes be shy when it comes to like a whole group of people.
Sure.
but but I have a multitude of personalities on the tour that I'm pretty sure we could come up with something that would maybe do a group class, and that would be so dope. So.
Oh, that would be so cool. I would love that. Yeah. Nice. Well, so can I ask you just a couple more questions or do you got to get back to your tattoo real
I
quick?
mean, I do have to get back, but a couple questions should be
Okay, a
okay.
couple more. Awesome. So what are you most excited about right now in your future? What's coming up? What kind of goals do you have?
My goals are to actually open a shop, Lazy Ink tattoo shop, and it's going to be all female staff and the Rand. And that's a goal that I plan actually to open next year. I've been looking for locations because I'm going to build it from ground up. So
You're going to
actually
build it.
looking
I'm
for
sorry.
land in Michigan right now.
You're going to build it from
Yeah,
scratch.
I'm building it from the ground up. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's
Wow.
something I'm super excited about because I'm trying my best to be as energy efficient. So I'm going to go green with like solar panels and things. So I'm trying to
Oh,
map that. Yeah, I'm mapping it out now, but I'm super, super stoked.
oh
Super
man, that
stoked.
is so cool. I love that. I use eco-friendly products in my shop too, and I try as hard as I
See?
can. Yeah, it's so
Oh,
important to be conscious of
yeah.
things like that.
Yes, it is because especially right now, the way this world is and the way that they are doing our environment.
Uh-huh. The way they're
And the
doing
environment's
it.
had enough, right? The environment's had enough. Right?
It's
It's
starting to
fighting back,
reject us.
right? Exactly. It's starting to fight back.
Oh
I want to be
gosh.
on Mother Earth's good side. So
I'm sure it's
yeah.
even more important when you have children too, that you're like, they're
Oh
gonna live,
yeah.
they're gonna be here a long time. Absolutely. So, well, let's just finish up with what's one thing what should I have asked you that I didn't know enough to ask you?
Let's see. I don't know. You asked me so many things.
Anything burning that you would tell all the newbies out there?
Uh, Basically just toughen up. This is not like I said, this is not this is not the tattoo industry is not for the weak. You're definitely gonna receive some criticism. You're definitely gonna receive criticism, some that you might not even want, some that you ask for, and yeah, just come with it. A pretty face is cool. If you're a lady, a pretty face is cool. Only gonna get you so far. You really need to learn how to do it right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And don't be discouraged.
Right. I love that.
Don't be
Thank you.
discouraged. That's
Yes.
number one.
One of the coolest things now, and even hearing about your Ladies of Ink tour, is that so many women are like banding together and trying to make the tattoo industry a little more open and classy and diverse, right?
Yes.
So I appreciate.
And we do have Ladies of Ink tour Canada.
Oh, nice.
And we actually are about to start Ladies of Ink UK. We were starting in the UK, and just when COVID hit, so it was like, okay, so that's on hold. But yeah, my plan is to branch off and have different tours in different countries.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that'll be really cool. There's so many awesome people around the world that would just could use that. To just see you guys together, I can just imagine. I want to see you guys when we come to come out here. I'm in Oregon, so one of these times come to Portland or something.
That sounds like cool. A plan.
All right, so for our listeners who want to stay in touch with you, I know you were offering a free gift. Can you share what that is?
Yes, I have the Ladies of Ink. It's a signature T-shirt, and it has our logo. It's black and white.
Nice.
And that's my free gift.
Yay. Oh, thank you so much. That's really cool. So listeners, just look for Lorrie's information on the event page and then click next to it to get the link for your free gift. Thank you so much for being our special guest today. I'm so glad Charity told me to get in touch with you and that we worked it out. To our listeners, your next interview will be delivered to your inbox. And don't forget, you have access for a full 7 days after each interview is released to listen. I look forward to joining you in our next session. Until then, be feisty, stay kind, and get creative.